Hello everyone, my name is Shaunneka, and if you are a new subscriber, welcome, and if you are already a supporter of my channel, welcome back, and thank you for supporting my page. Always remembering to hit like and subscribe so that you are notified when I upload a video, but also it helps me really know what sort of content to make to deliver to you. And of course, leaving a comment in the comment section, letting me know how you enjoyed the class. Maybe there was something that you struggled with, or maybe you just want to say hello, that works as well. I always like reading those comments. So for today's yin yoga class, we're going to be working with our extremities. More specifically, we are going to be targeting our lower extremities. So our toes, our feet, ankle, Achilles, and we will work a little bit into the wrists. So if your feet are feeling tired and achy or sore, or maybe your legs just feel restless, this is going to be a really great class. It's going to feel very invigorating for your feet, and it's also going to help with the pliability and overall range of motion and mobility of your ankles. So for this class, you're going to need 2 blocks and a towel, and we'll go ahead and get started. So for today's class, we're going to start with our wrists. It is a smaller joint, so we won't be holding the poses for as long, but we will be starting in a sort of a child's pose position. Go ahead and bring your knees wide and your big toes to touch, and then just sit your bum back into the saddle that you've created with your heels. You're going to take your hands and you're just going to turn them down so your fingers are pointing towards the floor, and then you're just going to bring your fingertips onto the mat. So your wrists might be all the way up here, and that is totally fine. This is where you would grab your towel, fold it, and that way you can bring the floor closer to you and allow the wrists to lean on. And what you're really looking to do is sink your weight back. Nice deep breaths. If you have a desk job, this might feel really, really sensational. But just remembering to take it easy. And always remembering you can gradually come to your edge. So if you're noticing that what was once sensational has started to decline, you can go ahead and just walk your fingers or shimmy your fingers closer towards your groin. Last few breaths here. Let's take our last 2 breaths. Nice big inhale. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. So very gently releasing the wrists from the mat. Just bring your hands, palms face up. And then from here, go ahead and just make fists with your hands and just rotate in one direction and in the other direction. Taking your hand out in front of you, you're going to touch your pinky and your thumb, and then trying to touch your thumb with all other fingers. We'll go ahead from here and come to sit on our bum. So from here, we'll be making our way into a modified butterfly with the zipper toes. So essentially, I'll just show you facing this way. If these were my feet, you're going to interlace your toes and make them into like a zipper. So I'll face this way. Go ahead and interlock your toes. So I'm going to start with my baby toes. Might feel funny at first, but of course you have the time to kind of snuggle them in once they're all zipped up. All right, so there you see my toes are nicely zipped up. The option up to you whether or not you want to bring your feet in closer towards your groin or further away. Inhale, find length. And exhale, just fold forward. Remembering to take nice deep breaths into the back body, back of the rib cage. Coming into our last few breaths here. Maybe see if you can find a little bit more depth in the pose. Let's take our last 2 breaths. Nice big inhale, fill up all the way into the back of that rib cage. Open the mouth and sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. Gently lift the gaze. Walk yourself all the way back up. You can go ahead and unzip the toes, so just open your feet like a book and just pull the toes out from one another. Just give them a nice wiggle. Just bring the soles of the feet to the mat, wrap your arms around your knees. Just let the head drop in and rock from side to side. Lifting the gaze here, and we'll go ahead and set up for our next posture. We'll be making our way into intense toe squat. Of course, we can't access and open our feet without this particular pose, and I know it's not a favorite one, but I'm going to show you a couple of variations to really find one that suits you. So if you have sensitive knees, this is where you would take your towel and you would just roll it up like this. Place it at the top of the mat, and also grab your blocks if you think you might use them. So I'll just go ahead and show the variations. From a tabletop position, tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. Drag your pinky toes forward. So this is the full pose of toe squat. This is uncomfortable for you, or if you have knee pain or sensitive knees, you would go ahead and take this towel and place it in the crease behind your knees. That way, it provides you a little bit of openness and space in the kneecap so that you're not feeling so much pressure when you're in this position. Your second option is to do 1 foot at a time. So you can bring 1 foot in front, placing your weight on the back heel, and you can also place slight weight into the blocks and come forward like this as well. Or maybe you don't use the block and you're here. So finding the variation that works for you. So once you've found your desired position, making sure you drag your pinky toes forward, sit back onto your heels, close the eyes. You can also drag the fingertips up and down the thighs. Or maybe you grab a hold of opposite elbows. Notice if you're tensing your shins. Really try to allow the shins to relax. Notice if you're leaning too far forward. So if you chose the option to do one foot at a time, we've come halfway, so you would now just switch to the other foot. So one of the benefits of opening up through the feet is that a lot of our meridian energy lines begin in the feet. So by opening up the back of the foot, the connective tissue, it kind of exudes itself up through the back line of the body. It also helps with hamstring opening and balance. Last few breaths here. If you'd like to go deeper for these last few breaths, you would simply inchworm your knees closer to the top of the mat. And you'll notice you come off of the ball of your foot and you're now just on the toes. Almost there. Just thinking about how good this is going to feel when we come out of it. Let's go ahead and take our last two breaths. Nice big inhale. And side out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Gently opening the eyes. Always remembering to move a little bit slower than you'd like. Plant the palms, untuck the toes. Whew. So they might feel a little bit stiff right now, but just give it a moment. It should feel really, really nice, feeling that surge of energy, all that blood rushing to the toes. Once you have life in your toes again, you can rotate the ankles, wiggle the toes. Maybe even tap the toes on top of the mat. All right, so go ahead and just come to sit back on your heels. So we're going to counteract that and stretch everything just below the kneecap, top of the shin, top of the foot. So if sitting back like this is enough, go ahead and you'll take this position. You should be feeling a nice stretch to the top of the foot. Otherwise, I would suggest you take your block, place it underneath you, and sit like this. And maybe you're also receiving a nice stretch through the top of the foot. Third option is to bring your blocks in front of you and place your knees on top of the blocks and sit back onto your heels, again feeling a nice stretch through the top of the shin, top of the foot. If you're looking for just a little bit more than those options, sitting back onto your heels with your toenails pressing into the floor, bring your fingertips behind you nice and light. You're just going to lift your knees as much as you can towards your chest. We're only going to hold this for 5 breaths. Let's just take our last breath here. Nice big inhale. And on the exhale, gently lower. Or if you were on the blocks, coming off the blocks, rocking forward again, tuck the toes under, and rolling out through the ankles. And maybe you might like to extend one leg back and the other leg. Okay, so hopefully your feet are feeling alive. We're going to go ahead now and work into the Achilles and the back of your calf. So bringing your blocks to the top of the mat if you decide that you're going to use them. So go ahead and step your right foot forward. And then you may need to tuck your left toes under, pick up your left knee, and extend it back. So we will adjust in a moment. From here in a normal dragon, your knee would be stacked in line with your ankle. But for today, what you want to do is you want to draw your knee beyond your toes so that the stretch goes into the back of the calf, your Achilles, so you're feeling tension through the back, but you're going to feel compression in the front of the ankle. So go ahead, tuck the left toes under, and then you're just going to move your left knee forward until your right knee comes beyond your right toes. And you'll notice my ankle's lifting off just a little bit, but I am feeling a stretch in the back of my calf. So you can go ahead, bring your hand on either side of that foot, and lean your chest on your thigh. So this is quite intense. I'm also feeling a really intense opening through my left hip flexor. So in order to feel this adequately, you're going to need to move your left knee in closer. So the further away your left knee is, the less likely you are to be able to move your knee beyond your toes. So settling here. Last few breaths here. Let's take our last 2 breaths. Nice big inhale. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. Opening the eyes. So we're going to go ahead and come out. Extend that right leg. Grab the block with your right hand if you were using it, and place it underneath your right sit bone. Everything below the knee should feel nice and spacious, energized. Let's go ahead here and just rotate the ankle, wiggle the toes. And we will go ahead and set up for the other side. So bringing the block back to the top of the mat. So let's go ahead and step the left foot through. Pick up your right knee and then move your left knee forward beyond your left toes and bring your right knee back down to the mat. So you can leave both hands to the inside of that foot if you'd like, but I like to take one hand on either side. That way I can rest my weight on my left thigh. And just allow the head to drop here. Last few breaths here, almost there. Last 2 breaths here. Nice big inhale. And side out. One more inhale. And exhale. So beginning to straighten that left leg. So you might want to tuck your right toes under and grab the block with your left hand. Straighten the left leg and place the block underneath your left sit bone. Closing the eyes, palms face up. Just allowing all of that energy to do its thing. Gently opening the eyes, coming off of the block. So we've been doing a lot of hunching forward. We're just going to open up through the upper back to really balance out our practice. So you're going to bring your first block at its highest height and the second block at its second highest height. When you sit down, you're going to bring the first block, not so that it's jamming into your low back, but you want it slightly away so that when you come all the way down, you are able to hug the block with your shoulder blades and then place the top block just underneath the head. So you might have to shimmy a little bit, find that sweet spot. And you can keep the knees bent or straighten the legs. Totally up to you. Opening the arms out to a T. Just relaxing here. You can bring your arms up further, maybe even grab a hold of opposite elbows. Last few breaths here. Take our last 2 breaths. Nice big inhale. And side out. 1 more inhale. And exhale. If the hands are up above, bring them back down beside you. Just gently roll onto one side without coming all the way up. Removing one block and the other, coming to lay all the way down onto your backs. You should feel really, really good. You should feel a nice pooling sensation, like you're being sucked into the floor. Extending your legs out wide and your arms out wide for your Shavasana. So feeling free to stay here for as long as you'd like. I hope you found today's practice beneficial and enjoyable. And I will see you next time.